Did you know that when we tell someone a story they are inspired by or can relate to, something happens to their brain? It's true. Suddenly there's a connection between the storyteller and the listener. Something called neural coupling occurs, and our brain produces oxytocin, the happy hormone, which increases our ability to feel compassion. And if that story is inspiring, it motivates us to action. Stories teach us so much, we learn that if she can do it, I can do it. In the spotlight, a woman whose story is bound to motivate and to inspire you. Roberta Sydney, welcome to the story behind her success.
Thank you for having me, Candy.
So nice for you to be here today. And I've been reading all about you, and I've got so many questions. You're one of the most exceptional women I've had a chance to meet in a while. And there are so many parts to your expertise. So let's chunk it down just a little bit. Let's start with Sydney Associates, where you are the founder and the CEO. What does your company offer its clients? Walk me through your day.
Well, my company is a property management and development company, real estate development company, and we have excelled at providing outstanding rental experiences for the people we do business with. And they are residents of multifamily apartment buildings, they are office tenants, and then they are retail tenants. And so every day is different. And
long.
Well, long at times, long at times.
Do you love what you do?
I do. I feel that I am like a movie producer in some respects.
Tell me.
Which means that I'm coming up with a vision, what can go on this piece of land or this in this building, and then bringing together the people, the money, the energy to make it happen and make it real.
As an independent director, executive, business builder, you are called upon to oversee and to chair investment committees, boards of closely held companies, from what I've read. And I'm going to guess that you also need to be the voice of reason, to be that person who is the peacekeeper, the negotiator. Tell me what that's like. Well, am I right about what I said?
Yes, you are right. You are right. Well, I can tell you a few things. So first of all, what I would tell you is on some of my boards, it is that definite the voice of reason, the voice of wisdom. Having been there, having done that, the opportunity to pay it forward in a different way and help an entrepreneur or help a founder who's in a different place and time navigate the waters, which are sometimes choppy. That can be very helpful, and it's very rewarding for me to see that person succeed and excel. And it could be advice about the person that they're trying to keep on board and that doesn't seem to be happening, and letting them know it's okay, let it go, let the person go. The next person is going to probably be a better fit and a longer term fit. So it's things like that. It's also being that person who can see the bigger picture. So, for example, on one of my boards, it's a women's executive organization called C200.
Oh, yes. I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah. So that organization, we have done great things for women, and we continue to look for ways to be relevant in the world today. And being able to contribute at that board level is also interesting at times.
I'm going to guess that there are often times when you are the only woman at the table. How do you project your strength, your confidence, the wisdom that you just described in difficult situations?
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Especially in commercial real estate development, one of the things that I have found is there's never a line for the ladies' room. I mean, it's one of the things I like, but I really do want more women who are in the field. So I'm kidding when I say that. What I have found, though, is I've used it to my advantage. So there are certain occasions when people might underestimate what I know or what I'm capable of. And so I'll ask lots of questions.
Yes.
Be very interested, very curious. And what I have found is people will share way more with me than I would have thought they would share. Probably maybe even way more than they should have shared. But it's very helpful for me to understand what their motivations are, what their interests are, and again, to align my interests, not necessarily to take advantage of anyone. But I recall one case in particular where I was doing a development in Cambridge, and we were talking with one group about a restaurant on the second floor. And this had gone quite far along. We were meeting with the potential tenant, their architect, And I was the only woman in the room. Let's just face it. I was the only woman in the room. And everybody there just assumed I was somebody's secretary or maybe the broker or maybe a lawyer. No one understood kind of who I was. And so we sort of sat down and they were, wondering who I was. And they were like really being very dismissive. And I just said, okay, well, let's get down to business. And they're like, well, yeah. And who are you? And I said, well, I own the property and I'm the person in charge here. And it kind of took everybody aback, but I say it in a way that's matter of fact. It's not to make anybody feel
It's not
bad.
combative.
No, it's not
or
combative.
angry.
No. And again, once people get to know me, they understand that I'm straightforward. I'm very much a say-do person. If I say something, I'm going to do it, and that that I'm someone who honors my word and who honors relationships, which I think is really important for people, but certainly for women.
That leads me to my next question about relationships. I believe that relationships are everything, Roberta, and I can tell by the smile on your face that resonates for you as well. Through the course of your career, has a lot of it been relationship building?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question about it. I would say that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's, what is it? There's a phrase, don't tell them how much until they know how much you care. Again, I feel so strongly about that. I'll give you another example. There was a case a number of years ago in one of my residential buildings where there was a tenant, and this was a market rate building, someone paying very good rent. And he was just being kind of abusive to some of the staff, these people who worked for me. And all the layers in my company were trying to deal with it. And it just got to the point where even with escalation, it wasn't getting better, it was getting worse. So I called him in and said, look, I'd like to sit down with you as the owner of the company. We sat down and I said, clearly, this is not a good fit. And I'm prepared to help you break your lease soon and have you move somewhere else where you can find what you want. And he started going on about how he pays good rent and this, that, the other. And I said, I really don't care how much you pay. It doesn't give you the right to treat people that way. These are people that work for me. They work for us. They work to make your home comfortable. And if this is how you feel you want to act and can act, then this isn't a place where we want you to be.
Were you scared at all when you had to say that? Or has your experience taught you that it's just better to say what you need to say? Does fear ever play a part in some of these scenarios?
I would say, well, there's a book I read a long time ago called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I just love that book. It's a short book. It's a
I'm
good
reading
read.
it right after we're done with this interview.
Well, there you go. I can't say that I'm never afraid because I do think that there are times when I get a little nervous, like, doing this
Anybody
interview.
else would.
But I never let it stop me. I think that's the
Yeah.
difference. And the other is that I'm always very prepared. I think that helps you if you are afraid. It's like, okay, well, how can I be prepared to handle whatever it is? And I think there are ways to do it. But in general, I don't fear calling anyone. I don't fear talking to anyone. I don't feel anyone is better than me. I don't feel better than anyone. And I like people. So if you like people, you can talk to people. And again, I think asking questions helps a lot if you ask questions as opposed to, make demands or come across as a very strident, difficult person.
What is your leadership philosophy?
That is a really good question. I would say that I believe in finding the genius in others and allowing that to shine. And I see myself doing that in so many places, in so many arenas. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I don't want to be the one who's doing everything. I want to allow people to shine and to get credit and take credit and feel good about their growth and their learning. I always feel about the people who worked for me, it wasn't about guaranteeing them employment. It was more about guaranteeing them employability. And that meant building them up, building their skills, recognizing their talents, helping them with things they needed to work on and grow into. And that's how I lead.
You had mentioned earlier an organization called C200, and you serve as the treasurer. It's a membership association for top female operating executives. So tell me a little bit about the organization, the mission, the goals, and why that work is so important to you.
Well, having gone to Wellesley College and having been a part of many different women's organizations, I came upon C200 maybe about 10 or 15 years ago. And it is definitely a membership organization. We have about 540 members, mostly in North America, but a few internationally.
Mm-hmm.
And it is made up of a mix of entrepreneurs and corporate women, which is the only organization that I know that's like that. So in order to be eligible for membership, you have to have a P&L responsibility. As an entrepreneur, you have to be running a company that's 20 million or more. And as a corporate member, you have to be having P&L responsibility for $250 million or more with a B. And so these are...
That's some power.
It is yes, it is a powerful group of women. I'm feeling very fortunate to be in a leadership role with this group because it is an impressive group. We have Grammy Award-winning music producers. We've had people working with SpaceX putting rockets up in space. It is a very interesting group of women, And what we're all about is success shared. That's one of our bylines. And what we're looking to do is to help one another achieve, grow, develop, and then also reach back to the women who haven't yet gotten where we've gotten. We have a few signature programs where we educate and inspire young women or women who are building businesses. They may not be quite so young, but they're not quite where membership would be at for them, and we try to help them get there.